Hello, I'm Rick Kahler. Owning your own home is an integral part of the American dream. Like every dream, it's not necessarily, though, the right decision for everyone. Let's look at two examples of people who choose to rent rather than own. Tony is a middle-aged gentleman who has never married. For the past 15 years, he's lived in the same small and inexpensive apartment. It's comfortable enough and certainly adequate. But that's probably about all you can really say for it. Tony doesn't really care that it's just adequate and inexpensive. He really prefers to spend his discretionary funds on boating, snowmobiling, skiing, and travel. He also spends a lot of his free time on those activities instead of having to maintain a house and a yard. Now, take the Thompson family. They've lived in a small rental house for about 20 years. The rent was pretty low, and that allowed the husband to do modestly paid work that he really loved and enjoyed. It also allowed his wife to stay home when the couple's two children were young. Eventually, however, the marriage ended in divorce. Mrs. Thompson stayed for a time in the rental house, and then she decided she wanted a place of her own. Even though she was working and earning enough to live comfortably, she had a terrible time finding a house that she could afford to buy. Now, in these two examples, renting was clearly the right choice for Tony. I mean, to me at least, it was the wrong choice for the Thompsons. One important difference: net worth. Now, Tony spent his money on things that brought value to his life, which included securing his financial future. While living in his modest apartment, Tony was investing. The money he didn't need to spend on housing went into mutual funds. Today, he has a substantial portfolio. If he chooses, he can quit work in another 10 years and at that time have enough money to travel, ski, go boating, do whatever he would like. The Thompsons, on the other hand, saw renting instead of buying as a way to live on one income and raise their children in a way that was important to them. Now, this was certainly admirable and really worked well for them for a period of time. However, the couple never managed to invest anything substantial for their retirement. Even when Mrs. Thompson took a job after the children were teenagers, her earnings went to help to put them through college. Now, when the Thompsons divorced, they didn't have any debt. Neither did they have any substantial assets. With no equity in a house, no investments, and very little savings, to call their net worth modest would have been pretty much an exaggeration. Buying a house some 20 years earlier would possibly have been difficult and involved some sacrifice for a number of years. But as their earnings increased over the years, the payments would have stayed the same and therefore taken a smaller percentage of their income. By the time the marriage ended, the house would have probably been nearly paid for. The shared equity would have given each of them something with which to start their new lives. The second mistake the Thompsons made was to devote the wife's earnings to the children's education at the cost of their own future financial security. Now, I have said quite a bit of this regarding the money script that seems to be pretty common in our society, that says parents who really love their children will fund the children's education before the parents have funded their retirement. Now, in all of this, financial planners generally don't consider clients' homes as part of their assets. We consider home ownership as providing a place to live rather than as an investment. In most cases, however, it does also help to build net worth. Renting instead of buying can certainly work pretty good for some people, but it's essential to create net worth at the same time. Long-term renting can be a wise choice when renting costs substantially are less than owning. And think of beaches in big cities. Or when you move frequently, or when you invest enough to ensure your financial independence. Thanks.